Actuators are such a critical input to building any robot. Our ultimate goal is to kind of supply the entire industry. What it basically does is it speeds up iteration cycles. And as given customers kind of looking to scale, you don't run into this problem of where am I going to get a reliable supply of actuators.
Said another way, when there is an actuator fab that pumps out a lot of actuators, it will be just like with chip fabs. AI is happening so quickly that everyone's looking ahead to the robot future and trying to figure out not when we need to build 1 million robots in a year, but what does it look like when we have to build 100 million robots in a year? How many actuators is that? Where will they be built? And so we're squarely believers that if you're going to have the largest TAM industry ever, you should build it at home, which is here in the US.
Back on MTS with Jordan Sanders and David Hansen,
co-founders of Western Magnetics, but is shortened as Westmag. Welcome, Jordan, and welcome, David. So first of all, if you can tell the audience the big news from today.
Yeah, so we today just announced our seed round that we actually raised in 25, but we've been operating in stealth. But today we announced our seed round. It was led $11 million, led by Andreessen Horowitz, with participation from Founders Fund, Lux, Menlo Ventures, NFDG, and a number of other awesome investors.
Awesome. So can you give the audience a little bit of background on like why this is important? So drones and robots rely on motors and actuators. Why is this important? Like, what is the state of like drones and actuators like supply chain in the U.S.? What is missing? Sort of walk us through all of that.
Yeah, you want to talk about it?
What's missing is that it's not made here. So as people have been building more and more drones and robots, they've been getting familiar with the supply chains and where those motors and actuators are actually built. Most of them are built in China, but in Asia generally. And then as people try and get higher performance motors, more custom actuators, they're finding out that the US companies aren't actually they aren't the top customer for the suppliers. And so every company has been running into the problem of where to get stuff from.
Right. So when it comes to like the customization or like specificity of things like motors, like they're used in drones, but like what are the different needs and like what is difficult from a production perspective?
Everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say, let's see. So there are decently like kind of wide range of SKUs or kind of sizes that are relevant for motors. So basically, when you're talking about a drone motor, obviously you use a different size motor for say a 5-inch propeller than a 30-inch propeller. So it's all kind of circles of different sizes. So one of the things that kind of we've done, in terms of our production process, well, it's kind of two things. One, as we've gone to market, we've partnered with kind of high volume customers. So as we've been, that's really a whole lot of what we've been doing over the last kind of year while in stealth mode is building up our own industrial capacity, matching that to the kind of SKUs or the motor sizes that are in highest demand by kind of high volume ramping customers. And then we're designing our manufacturing processes to kind of be somewhat flexible across different motor sizes so that we can use kind of one production process in one line to kind of day over day, week over week, manufacture different size motors according to the kind of the needs of customers. Do you want to talk a little bit about actuators, maybe?
Yeah. With motors and actuators, if you want to build them, if you actually want to control the design and build them yourself, you have to do is go find where everything comes from. And what you find out is just almost entirely not in the US.
Yeah.
Almost entirely in Asia. So what we spent the past year doing is figuring out how to build industrial capacity for motors and actuators, and then looking ahead to where demand will be and figuring out how far up the supply chains do you have to go before you can have an effect on how much you can build. So there's sort of two problems for building motors and actuators. One is your supply chain, and the other one is the process knowledge. And so we spent a lot of time in Asia where motors and actuators have been built in the greatest numbers, figuring out how it's done, and then moving that process knowledge over here, and then building out supply chains that are diversified, more than just single companies, but actually diversifying across different nations on where we buy stuff.
Yeah, awesome. So can we talk about like hardware ecosystems in the US? So you guys have a facility in South SF. I know that there's like a hardware ecosystem like around El Segundo. People will say that Texas is like the next Shenzhen or whatever. Like, why did you guys choose to, put your facility in South SF, and like where else would you possibly like go with a, reshoring effort like this?
Yeah. Why we're in San Francisco is pretty simple. It's just to be closest to customers and capital and
Mm,
the engineers, particularly engineers who are going to help us kind of as we iterate on our manufacturing process. We're going to do a whole lot of kind of semi-autonomous or semi-automated kind of production processes, so involving kind of robots. So
mhm.
want to be close to drone customers, close to robot customers, close to capital. Um, and, frankly, as we kind of look around the country, we think, there's obviously great things going on in Texas, going on in El Segundo. So, yeah, have tons of friends there, building there. But we definitely saw an opportunity we think we should build more hardware in the Bay Area. And
Right.
at least so far, it's been kind of uh, an advantage because we're kind of at this moment where people are really excited to actually build things. And doing it in the Bay Area, we're finding a whole lot of folks who want to jump in and actually like work in a factory environment, which is pretty fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, like with the robotics like supply chain, like what are the main difficulties with getting like, not just humanoids, maybe like quadrupeds, anything built in the US?
Yeah, well, I mean,
The obvious ones.
yeah, well, yeah, I guess to be really clear, a large part of the BOM for most kind of robots is made up of actuators.
Mhm.
There's different types of actuators, of course. One of the reasons why kind of we at Westmag were building drone motors and robot actuators
Mm.
is that at the core of every kind of actuator is essentially a drone motor.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, so that's a really key part of kind of the strategy is we're first building drone motors at high volume. That's where we see the highest immediate demand right now. Getting really good at that, both in the manufacturing process as well as establishing those supply chains, and then applying that kind of as a foundation to build robot actuators. And the more that we can control kind of move up the supply chain and be able to take raw material and get the raw material, the right raw
Right.
materials, and essentially put them through the factory and pump out motors and actuators on the other side. The better kind of price, quality, consistency we can deliver to our customers.
The key for making good motors and actuators is to build a lot of them. So our
Mm.
hack with actuators is to get good at building motors. There we got very lucky with timing on where robot or where drone motors have to come from. So the FCC banned foreign critical
Hmm.
drone components in December. We were already in the middle of building, so that was a tailwind for us. But uh, in order to get good at building motors, we have to build a lot of them. That is in some ways solved by current drone motor demand. Actuators and robots, it's still compared to other industries, it's still so new, and compared to where we think it's going to go, it's very, very small. So the real hack for us was to build the drone motors, which are going to the actuators. And so our what we're looking ahead to is how do we build as many actuators as possible, and that's to get good at it. So
Sure.
much of
Yeah.
the process knowledge is not just you go to Shenzhen or around Dongguan and you go to a factory and you're there for 2 weeks or 2 months. It's actually building them in the US and then figuring out what breaks on the US side. So that's our big focus this year is going to be on actuators.
Awesome. So like if we get actuators in the US at scale and we're able to like build a lot of these, what sort of physical like technologies are made possible? Looking forward like 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, actuators are such a critical input to building any robot. Our ultimate goal is to kind of supply the entire industry and to see a lot more robot companies, robot form factors. What it basically does is it, speeds up iteration cycles. And as given customers kind of looking to scale, you don't run into uh, this sort of okay where this problem of where am I going to get reliable supply of actuators. So to answer your question, like ultimately we think we're focused on being a reliable kind of supplier of these critical components so that more folks can build more robots, more form factors, and innovate a lot quicker, and be ready to scale up.
Said another way, when there is an actuator fab that pumps out a lot of actuators, it will be just like with chip fabs. If you want a lot of people to make different types of chips, you need the fab first.
Right.
So we're very much focused on the motors and the actuators to enable our customers to build on top of them.
And what are your thoughts on Pack Silica and like sort of, allied manufacturing like outside of the US? Do you think that like that alongside with what you guys are doing, like the full reshoring effort, like will be good, will be effective?
Yeah. So like with Pack Silica, we use suppliers from allied nations. We love working with the Japanese, and we have a really great relationship with allied suppliers because we see there being so much demand that it's not just we pick up their factory and move it, but it's actually expanding manufacturing and going faster by using their experience. So we have partners where we're looking at expanding their factories over here to the US. It's a market that's obvious to everyone. So drones are happening. AI is happening so quickly that everyone's looking ahead to the robot future and trying to figure out not when we need to build 1 million robots in a year, but what does it look like when we have to build 100 million robots in a year? How many actuators is that? Where will they be built? And so we're squarely believers that if you're going to have the largest TAM industry ever, you should build it at home, which is here in the US.
And you believe that that's robotics?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess to close off, like, what's something optimistic about like the robotics revolution that you're looking forward to?
I'm a simple person. I don't like doing my laundry. I don't like doing dishes.
Right.
I have kids, so I spend a lot of time cleaning a lot of things. So I can't really see past cleaning. But there are a lot of older people in my life who want they want to have mobility and they want to have freedom. Riding Waymos all around the Bay Area, you can't help but feel optimistic about technology when it really shows up. I think a lot of people in the Bay may have ignored what happened when Waymos started running around, but if you look at it, I mean, it's just amazing what it gives to you. And so we see the same thing with robots.
I'm pretty excited
Okay,
about
all right.
cleaning too. Yeah, that's my answer.
We have a lot of people in the office that have to run around to walk the dog. So
yeah, that's
every
right.
night. So maybe it'll help with that.
Yeah, the dog walking robot would solve this. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming on. I think we're out about time, but so excited to see what you guys are doing, helping, like Reshore in the US. So congratulations on the raise.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining.
MTS is an ex-native live streaming news and interview show covering technology, business, politics, and culture as it happens. Catch us every weekday live on X, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.
11 Labs, AI that communicates at human level across every channel and modality. 11labs.io/MTS.
Shout out to our sponsors, Granola, the AI notepad. Try it once and never go back. Granola.ai/MTS.
Special thanks to our sponsor, Kong. Kong, the AI connectivity platform. Connect APIs, LLMs, agents, and systems with serious security and governance. Try it at konghq.com.
Shout out Blitzy, autonomous software development for enterprise code bases. Ship 5x faster, blitzy.com. Let me tell you about Merge. Build once, connect to every API, tool, and LLM. OpenAI, Dropbox, and Ramp use Merge to get AI to production faster. Merge.dev/MTS. Quick word from AdQuick. Make your brand a billboard. Out-of-home advertising as easy to scale as digital. Adquick.com.
Big thanks to our sponsor, Macroscope. AI code bases, understanding for engineering leaders. That's macroscope.com/MTS.